Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 238. Hope you're doing well. Spring officially starting March 20th, and so warmer weather and all that, more sunlight, longer days, bring it on. We have a great Tech It Out show planned for you this hour. You've probably heard of, or maybe have invested in, the NFT craze. And so we're going to chat with the president of Bunny Buddies to kick off this show. It's a fascinating trend. After that, crafting goes high tech. We'll chat with TheSoul Publishing, the biggest company you didn't know about. Learn what's new with Theraguns this hour, those percussive massage guns, with the founder of Therabody. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by ASUS, for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about ASUS shortly, but let's get to our first interview. If you spent any time online these days, especially on social media, you've no doubt noticed there's a ton of buzz surrounding a three-letter acronym NFT, or non-fungible token. It's a kind of digital asset that you can own and manage and sell, and it's all recorded on the blockchain, which is an online ledger of sorts that underpins cryptocurrencies. To explain what NFTs are all about, why you may want to own them, and to tell us about its Bunny Buddies NFTs, we're joined by Mitch Sibonney. He's president of Bunny Buddies. Hey Mitch, welcome to the show. Good to chat with you again.
Hey Mark, honor and pleasure to be here, my friend.
Likewise, good to chat with you, and I'm really happy to hear about your success tied to Bunny Buddies, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, though, explain, if you can, what NFTs are all about.
NFTs are a digital asset. It's a non-fungible token. These are generated and traded typically in the cryptocurrency market, very much with crypto coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum, Solana, and they are encrypted in the form of a random string of numbers. They're used for art, for music, and these are unlike typical fungible tokens like the cryptocurrencies, whereas these are unique to their own type.
All right, so if something is fungible, that means it's mutually interchangeable, right? So I give you a $10 bill, you give me 2 5s. That was a fungible transaction, if I'm understanding it right.
Exactly.
So an NFT, or non-fungible token, is a unique piece of art in most cases, right? It could be literally artwork, or it could be a song, it could be a digital comic book, a baseball card, a tweet, a video clip, right? That doesn't necessarily have any exact value.
That's exactly it. They exist on the blockchain. So they're distributed by a public ledger and they record transactions, right? So, most popular, obviously, are the cryptocurrencies, but NFTs are typically held on Ethereum blockchain,
right,
but they are on other blockchains as well, Solana and so forth. But they are created, minted digital objects. They represent both tangible and intangible items, like art, gifts, could be collectibles, and like you said, music as well. So
right,
there's all kinds of avatars, not one for one, specifically like a crypto coin, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I could digitize a piece of art that I painted, or I can create it digitally on a computer. And if someone wanted to own that, I can't sell it to them for real cash, meaning like fiat currency, like a dollar bill kind of thing. It would be bought through cryptocurrency like Ethereum, and then they own it. This is indisputable because it's recorded on that online ledger that Mitch Sibonney owns Mark Saltzman's hand-painted but digitized. It is a digital asset in most cases, right?
That is correct. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
And people are paying big money for some of these NFTs, right? I mean, over the last year, you've heard about people spending millions on that. What's the appeal here? Is it to truly say that you own it, or is it to turn it around for profit and sell it to somebody else?
I'd say it's a combination of the two. It's very much, I guess some people compare it to the stock market in some ways. It is traded on OpenSea and other platforms where there is a floor price and there is an intrinsic value to this NFT. However, each one is unique. So some of them could be more rare than others. And yes, if it's a Mark Saltzman piece, I would own it forever until I trade it to someone else. And I would establish what that price is based on combination of the going marketplace. Sure. And there's special things out there like rarity tools, and there are ways to evaluate, what makes it more rare than others. In regards to that point, yeah, they are pretty popular right now and some pretty valuable. A rare CryptoPunk just sold for over $20 million recently.
A crypto what? Sorry?
CryptoPunk. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but that is one of the more expensive, I guess, NFT projects. If you take a look at it and Google it, you can see it's very much pixelated type of artwork that's you would maybe resemble something from the 70s Ataris look back in the day. But
$20 million. I'm in the wrong business.
It's crazy. There aren't many like that. The Bored Ape is the yacht club are probably the more famous ones as well. Where a lot of celebrities, the entry level for those are about $250,000. So
Now I did want to invite you on the show to chat about Bunny Buddies, and that'll be my next question. But how do you get going buying NFTs? I think you said something about OpenSea. So do you have to create an account with one of these platforms?
Yes, very much like your crypto accounts. You want to start with something like a Coinbase or MetaMask.
So you need a wallet, a crypto wallet first.
That's correct. Different crypto wallets, they cater to different types of cryptocurrency. Right. So MetaMask is a popular one for your Ethereum to hold. Mm-hmm. And with that, you can go onto the OpenSea. It's OpenSea.io, and you can check the platform there and see millions of different types of artwork, that you can purchase on the OpenSea market. And there are other ones like Rarible and Foundation. There's different platforms, different marketplaces in which you can use your crypto wallets.
We are chatting with Mitch Sibonney. He's president of Bunny Buddies, and that is a collection of NFT artwork. So talk to us now about Bunny Buddies. What's it all about?
Well, Bunny Buddies are a collection of 8,888 bunnies that we created, and we minted these out February 21st. And they had sold out this collection in 28 minutes. And this collection comes from our artist, Ryan Robinson. He's an amazing artist. He's been creating art for over 10 years. He had a following of over 70,000 people on Instagram, and on his YouTube, he's had millions plus video views. This artist has been making bunnies for years, but now it's elevated to another level with the 3D technology. And so, this is it's our first collection, our Genesis collection, wow. Bunny Buddies. And they're very cute and amazing to collect. And we've had a great reaction so far. People really resonate with their bunnies. We have a tremendous community.
So you've sold 8,888 Bunny Buddies. These are pictures of bunnies, different poses and bunnies, in under 30 minutes.
That is correct. It's not typical for all businesses, but yes, we've had it was a tremendous day. We traded at the top 5 on OpenSea market as far as volume traded that day. Mm-hmm. It was a tremendous reaction, and I attribute that to the artist that we have. A lot of people resonate with his art.
So I could have bought one of those if I was fast enough. Let's say I spent $500. Could I then sell it to somebody for a few thousand?
Well, this takes place over time. It's been a few weeks only, and yes, this hopefully will be more than a few $1,000s in the near future as the community gets stronger. And they are all sold out, and they are trading openly. So some you get better deals, and some are in the tens of thousands. We have legendary ones, that are selling for 5, 6, 7, 10 ETH, Ethereum. Mm-hmm. And so, Ethereum's trading at about $2,600 right now, approximately. So they're quite expensive for some of them, and some of them are less expensive. But as the collection gains popularity and people are holding on to them, we add value to them. They just grow in value as well. Just hopefully one day like the Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks that I was mentioning.
Yeah. I hope so. So you said some are more rare than others. Some bunnies are more rare. Does that imply many of the 8,888 hand-drawn bunnies are the same? And then there are ones that are a little bit different, but they're still numbered, right? Like a piece of artwork would be.
That's correct. They are numbered like a piece of artwork, and they're based on different traits. Now, there's a couple hundred traits that these bunnies would have. So some would have we call the gold gang, and they're golden bunnies, or black hat gang that, we have different factions that are started within our bunny community. Right. And some of them, there's only 200, for example, of these black hat gang, or, some have a baseball bat or a soccer ball, and there's different traits that these have. So, the rarity, these are ranked in different types of website tools that are available.
Sure.
And some would be more rare than others. And we did start with a collection of 15 legendaries, which are the most super rare you can possibly get. And those are like, one of them is like a Venom buddy. We have a Joker bunny. One is like Beyonce. So they're quite the art is quite amazing, but those ones are definitely the most rare and the most valuable. And you could have minted those that day. We minted at 0.25 Ethereum, everybody had an equal chance to receiving one of those 15. And so it's that's the difference of just a regular stock, for example, where it's 1 for 1. Here you can have intrinsic value added by just having rarity features. And so some of those that were minted at 0.25 have resold for 3.5 ETH, for 7 ETH, Ethereum.
You've been using the phrase minted. Is that when that digital asset, that NFT, is sold? What does that mean exactly?
That is correct. Yeah, the minted term, it's terminology that they use when essentially a project is launched. So on mint day, that will be the first day that they're exposed for public sale to the people, basically.
Okay. What's the best website to learn more about Bunny Buddies?
If you go to bunny-buddies.com or check out our Twitter account, we're at TheBunnyBuddies. We are verified on Twitter, which is something that less than 2% of NFT projects have, is that Twitter verified account. We have 100,000 followers there. And I'd also suggest people to join our Discord. We have an amazing community. It's 280,000 people in our Discord community, and they're very helpful in there.
Well, congratulations, Mitch. It's bunny-buddies.com. I understand you'll be chatting at NFT Miami 2022. It's an upcoming conference at miaminftweek.com. I know you just released a teaser for a game playable in the metaverse in mixed reality, so lots going on for you. Sounds like you're having a lot of fun with it. All the best.
Thank you so much, Mark.
When we return, one of the world's biggest online media companies, reaching more than 1 billion social media subscribers across the world, and you probably haven't heard of them. We'll chat with TheSoul Publishing when we return on Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. This show is powered by ASUS. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, and that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops, accessories like mice and keyboards and monitors, smartphones, tablets, and smartwatches, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. Crafting has entered the 21st century. TheSoul Publishing is a popular digital studio that produces the global sensation 5-Minute Crafts. To learn more about crafting in the digital age, we're joined by TheSoul Publishing's Michael Boccaccino. He's Director of Content Partnerships. Hi, Michael. How's it going?
Good, Mark. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So before we talk about TheSoul Publishing, the company, is crafting back in style, or has it never gone out of style?
I don't know that crafting has necessarily ever gone out of style, but I think what we mean by the word craft might have changed a little bit. If you look at where our videos first started, they were very focused on traditional crafting projects, like making homemade Halloween decorations using everyday household items. But now we're also experimenting with life hacks, some videos about trying simple ways to do something better. Could be as simple as using vinegar to remove the stains on your pots and pans instead of an abrasive cleaner. We also...
Does that work, by the way?
It does, yeah. Okay. You can watch the video in real time.
Okay, there you go.
And we also do videos that either debunk or confirm, popular household myths. Like, for example, rubbing garlic on your fingers to pick an egg yolk out of an egg. So it's a mix of things that keeps changing, and it's really guided by whatever's trending online.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're striking a balance between entertainment, some practical tips, I think, as well, including more traditional crafting videos that you may have, as well as a creative outlet, whether it's cooking or traditional crafting. So with that in mind, talk to us about TheSoul Publishing. What is the company all about?
If you haven't heard of us by name, you've definitely seen one of our videos. TheSoul Publishing is the #1 media company in the world in terms of online video views, with over 1 billion followers across all social platforms. Our flagship brand, 5-Minute Crafts, is one of the top 10 channels on all of YouTube. And along with properties like Brightside, 123Go, and Slick Slime Sam, we generate about 16 billion views every month, which is more than anyone, including Disney or Viacom. And we attribute a lot of our success to producing content that is positive, practical, and purely entertaining.
Those are really impressive numbers, so congratulations, Michael. So we're not just talking traditional crafting, like cutting out things out of a magazine and gluing it into a book or anything. We're also talking life hacks and digital content as well. And I'm sure the pandemic, Michael, has played a role in this trend. Is that fair?
It really did. A lot of our videos have always just been meant to be entertaining. There's nothing more satisfying than watching someone finish a project that you've always been curious about. For example, like restoring a car from a junkyard to working condition. It's a ton of work, but really compelling to watch and a nice alternative to the news. And during the pandemic, with everyone stuck at home, we really saw a shift from that aspirational and entertaining viewing to viewers really looking to find some sense of agency in their homes and in their spaces. When you're stuck around the house, your home is the only thing you really have any control over. So we saw a lot of people spending time trying to improve their spaces, find new ways to organize things, find new ways to optimize their time in the kitchen. For example, finding new ways to cut and peel vegetables versus the traditional methods you might be thinking of. And then last but not least, upcycling, making the most of what you have so you don't have to run back to the store over and over again. So that could be something as simple as reusing your scraps from your kitchen to start a compost pile, or transforming a scarf you have lying around into a new party dress.
And it's not just videos, but you also have games and animation and other content too, correct?
Yeah, all things positive, practical, and purely entertaining. For example, with 5 Minute Crafts, it's available on 15 platforms in 19 languages, most recently on Roku. So we're everywhere. And we're also trying our hand at animation. We just launched a new animated kids show called Baby Zoo.
Very cool, Michael. We are chatting with Michael Boccacino. He is TheSoul Publishing's Director of Content Partnerships. We're talking about the changing face of crafting and what the company, TheSoul Publishing, has been doing for the last few years, amassing 1 billion with a B, social followers in the process. Talk to us about your live stream of 5 hours of crafts that ran during the Super Bowl. What was that all about?
So the idea for 5 hours of crafts really came from the notion that, people want something different on game day, potentially. So we decided that our popular 5 Minute Craft content would be some good counter programming for viewers looking for some lighthearted, fun, interactive entertainment. And thus 5 hours of crafts was born. We got over 7 million views across all of social in 2021. So we decided to do it again in 2022, and we saw some amazing results. What we learned from it is that people want the freedom to watch what they want, where they want to, but they also crave the communal aspect of watching something together, like during a live stream.
All right. If someone participated in your 5 hours of crafts on Super Bowl Sunday, they're watching with other people around the world, watching at the same time?
Yeah, this was a live stream, so everyone was watching the same pieces of content together and then commenting along the way.
I love that. Yeah, my friends tease me for not knowing a lot about football, so I have a t-shirt that says, "Yay, sports ball," or something like that. So, this is something I would probably watch 5 hours of crafts rather than the actual big game, except for the halftime show. All right. Now, as we wrap up, Michael, how can parents get their kids more interested in crafting? And again, I know that's a really loose term these days, kind of like a family exercise. Any tips there?
Yeah, 5 Minute Crafts is really intended for the whole family. Crafting is a great way to get families to spend more time together, especially when it's too cold or rainy to go outside. It's also a good way to learn new skills while you're having fun, and also a good alternative to screen time for the whole family if you're looking for them to put down their phones. So we also have another crafting channel intended just for kids called Slick Slime Sam, which has a bunch of fun projects that are related to popular characters that your kids might be familiar with. So I would say start there.
Okay. And then finally, you said that a lot of people have seen your video content, but they may not know your company by name. Is there a way that our listeners can learn more about TheSoul Publishing and get right to your content?
Yeah, you can check out 5 Minute Crafts on whichever social platform you like to engage with, or you can learn more about TheSoul Publishing by visiting our website at thesoul-publishing.com.
All right. Michael Boccacino, great to chat with you. Thanks so much, and congrats on your successes.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
If you haven't yet used one of those Theraguns, those massage guns, oh boy, you should start. They're awesome. We're going to chat with the founder of the company when we return on Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. The family of Theragun massage guns are incredibly popular, whether it's to help athletes or other folks recover faster, or using percussive therapy, as it's called, for comfort and enjoyment. Speaking of athletes, Theragun products are used by more than 250 professional sports teams worldwide. Well, we're now joined by Therabody, the company behind these wellness products, and we're privileged to have on the line Dr. Jason Wersland. He's the founder and chief wellness officer of Therabody. Hi, Dr. Jason. Thanks for your time.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me. Like I said, I like doing this stuff.
Okay, great. I'm happy to hear that. Not that people aren't familiar with Theragun massage guns already, but before we talk about Therabody, though, let's start at a high level. What is percussive therapy all about?
Great question. So percussive therapy implies a couple of different things. It's different than vibration. Vibration doesn't have a big amplitude. you can measure the amplitude of vibration in nanometers. But with percussive therapy, the amplitude is much more than that. So, for example, our amplitude is 16 millimeters or half an inch. And that's 60% greater amplitude than those on the market that are claiming to be competitors. So percussive therapy it's basically three things happening at the same time on your body. It's amplitude, frequency, and torque. Amplitude is the distance it travels in one rotation. Frequency is how many times it touches your body in a second or a minute. And that's really important because that's more of a neurological thing than it is a muscle tissue thing. And then lastly is the torque, which is the power to be able to provide the percussive therapy in areas of your body that you can't really reach and still have the power to have the impact.
All right. And because this is radio, we're talking about these devices. They often look like a handheld massager, if you will. And then you would put it on the parts of your body that you want some relief or recovery. Is that the idea?
Yeah. So those three things combined together to the body, it actually overrides pain to the brain. Mm-hmm. It brings blood flow to the surface and it heals the tissue. And we've actually done some studies and research to validate the claims we're saying. But that's why people put it on areas of their body that are sore, because most of the issues we have are musculoskeletal, whether it's lack of blood flow, too much blood flow, lack of movement, and you want to move. Like we're realizing over the last years that those things I'm talking about that we call percussive therapy actually enhances your range of motion, increases the muscle's flexibility, and it helps heal the body. So that's why you're seeing more and more people use this. And it's, we talk about this a lot internally, but that's why we need to still position ourselves for growth because there's still a lot of people who haven't experienced this.
Okay, so the company is Therabody, formerly Theragun, which is your product line. You've been a leader in this space for a while. Talk to us about the company.
Wow. Well, first of all, I don't know if we've been a leader as much as we've been the ones that are breaking ground. It's become, in the early days, it was me out trying to convince people what this was doing to their bodies. And then as it started to grow and we started working with teams and athletes, people started understanding the language, like what is this and what is it doing? And so I think, being the leaders in the space isn't always easy, and being the first ones to the space isn't always easy because there's competitors on your heels. So I think the way you look at this space now is there's probably 3 or 4 different companies out there doing what we're doing in the same space that we are. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference really is that we take on as a brand is education. And from the early days when I was doing it myself to up to today, education is a big part of what we're doing because there's a responsibility that I have. And I'm talking to you, Mark, and we're sitting in my treatment room and I'm handing you this tool. I want you to understand it as well as I do. And that takes time. It takes you try it, then you come back and you get some education. What about this? Hey, does it fix that? So the more and more people, and think about this as our first generation of people that have experienced percussive therapy. So I imagine what that looks like in the 3rd generation when it's just common knowledge, everyone understands and they take this on. So that's what we do as a brand. That's where we come in that makes us much different than anyone else, is our educational support, whether it's at retail, whether it's at colleges, whether it's at specific institutions that are doing physical therapy and manual therapy and massage therapy. We work with those around the globe. So I think when you talk about this space, I think the idea that we have to think about is this is really for everyone. This isn't just for athletes. This is literally for everybody. If you're sitting at a desk for a long period of time, we all know that feels like crap at the end of the day. So we want to be able to provide you the education to understand when to use what product throughout your day to give you the relief you need so you can have fun and do the things you like to do when you on the weekend. So that's, if you I think your question really led me to what our ethos is as a company. And that's what really sets us apart from the other ones, anyone else out there, is our sincere desire to educate you so that you understand how to use these in your life so that you get the relief and you're not having to rely on somebody else.
How do you decide which Theragun model to go with? I know you've got a couple of them. Maybe you can tell us what the latest ones are. And also when it comes to the intensity, my wife, who's a fitness instructor, she likes it a lot faster and harder than I do. I like it just more, again, I'm one of those examples you said of someone who sits at their desk all day. But how do you choose the model and the intensity?
So the cool thing about all of our Theraguns, the triangle ones specifically, they all have the same specs. So they all have the same amplitude, same frequency, and the torque's a little different, but you're getting the same basically throughout.
Even the Mini, the little guy?
No. Yeah, the Mini, I was going to get to that. Yeah, the Mini is 12 millimeters of amplitude, which is still 40% more than other ones on the market. And the torque on that one's a little less. So all the specs on that are a little less, which is why we say it's the best companion. So if I were you, I would get a Mini no matter which one you got, because the Mini is easy to throw in your bag. And you should always have that with you, whether you're, think about just going out on the weekend. Like I was at South by Southwest, like walking around. That's a lot of, that's hard on your body to be able to pull the Mini out and hit yourself. But then you talk about which ones to use, understanding, first of all, that all three of them have the same specs, relatively the same specs. They just go just as deep on each one of them. Then it's just what specific things are you looking for? I travel with my Mini and my Prime because I don't have a lot of space. The Prime is something I'll take to the gym with me because I can get leverage with the triangle, but it gives me the same punch relatively that the Elite and the Pro. One of our best sellers is the Elite, which is sort of the Cadillac. It has digital interface, pressure gauge, works with our app. It's really easy, sleek looking, all the attachments match. So it's really kind of up to you. Like, do you want to step up a little more, get the Elite? We've also got a different color range in the Elite section. If you have a white and a black with a little different color ring. So that's an option too.
We'll continue chatting with Dr. Jason about the Theragun family of percussive massage guns when we return on Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. We are chatting with Dr. Jason Wersland. He is the founder and chief wellness officer at Therabody. They're the folks behind the Theragun family of devices. Before the break, we were chatting about the different kinds of devices. We covered the Mini, the Pro, and the Elite. And are the heads interchangeable between all the different ones?
Yes, that was one of the things we wanted to make sure as a brand, that we wouldn't want to hose our customers. We don't want you to feel like you had to buy all these different attachments. So they are all interchangeable, yeah.
And just quickly, how do you choose which head or tip that's best for you?
Yeah, we have, in general, it goes from intense. It's based off intensity. So you have the cone that's going to be really intense. It's not painful. It's just much more intense and specific. The wedge, same thing. Thumb a little less. Standard ball a little less. Large ball a little less. And then you get the dampeners all the way up to the top. So there's specific reasons why we would use different ones. I did a little video the other day on how you would use 4 different attachments to use on your hands. Think about what we do on our phone, our laptops. We never really give our hands the therapy they need. So it really depends. In general, we would say use the dampener because that's the most forgiving. You can hit bone, it doesn't bother you at all. I could take another 5 minutes and explain why we have each one of them, because we do have patents, design patents and all that on them. And it's from the research that I've done over the years.
Well, in the interest of time, let's just remind our listeners that they can look at your videos that have a deeper dive into which head to use. And this is a tech show, Dr. Jason. So I wanted to ask you about your model that does work with an app. Which models does that work with, and what does the app bring to the table?
That's the most exciting part for me, Mark, because the reason we created the app was to educate people. The first app we had was like 16 different protocols for different diagnoses that people had, general ones that I'd seen over the years. But as we've grown, all of our triangle devices to today are app compatible. So you can pick up the Prime, you turn on the app, and you scroll through the app, and let's say you have shoulder pain, and you choose shoulder pain. Now the app speaks to the Theragun, and the Theragun speaks back to the app, and it starts to gather information. But it's also showing you where to put it on your body, how long to put it on your body, what attachment to use, and how much pressure to apply. So we've really tried to take a lot of the guesswork out because, as you know, 3 or 4 times of doing that, you're not going to need the app anymore. So that's really the goal, is to teach and educate people so it can be autonomous and you just understand how to use it. So the app is something I'm super proud of. We have a lot of people working on it because we're learning more and more about how to use the product, and we want to share that with our customers.
Now, before we end off our chat about Theragun, which we'll get to in a moment, how much do these devices cost?
In the US, it's $79 up to $599.
Before we wrap up, Dr. Jason, talk to us about your USDA certified organic CBD line. It's called Theragun. What's that all about?
That was that was something I'm super proud of because it happened organically.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, right. My business partner and I started working on, I was doing a study, a little micro study on some employees of ours. And he stepped in the room and he could smell some things in there. And some of the employees had brought some CBD at the time. And this is in 2017. So it wasn't really well known. And I wasn't comfortable with a lot of the things that were out there. And then he started, Ben started asking me like, what is it? Where's it from? And so I started digging in and realizing there's really no product out there that had the standards that was the same quality from bottle to bottle. And sometimes not even the same quality from the beginning of the bottle to the end of the bottle. So I started recognizing there was an opportunity for someone to come in and set some higher standards in that space. So we as a company created what we call Theragun. It's a USDA certified organic product. To get that certification is really tough. But more importantly, Mark, it works. And to me, that's huge. Like I've got clients and patients that I'm not going to see for a couple of weeks, and I want them to have some relief when I'm not there. So this kind of is a replacement for me doing therapy in certain areas. So we've got 5 different products right now. We're expanding the line because we realize how needed this stuff is in our lives. But I think the most important message that people could understand is it's CBD, which is a cannabinoid. And if you do any research, you'll find that cannabinoids are the oldest living organisms in our bodies. And they're the oldest plants on the earth, which not a coincidence. So our bodies need cannabinoids. It needs that, whether you're eating that or you're putting it on your body. And it knows what to do with that, more importantly. So it's a more efficient way to deal with some of the pains you have, some of the chronic issues. And we're just trying to do our best to put that stuff out there. And we have to hold a higher standard because of the athletes we work with. I can't afford to have, a blood test show up or it not work. So that's been our mission with Theragun, is to get something out there to people that's organic and they can trust.
And where can we learn more about these products?
Therabody.com. We have a lot of videos and a lot of ways to be able to incorporate this into your life on our website.
All right. Therabody.com. Dr. Jason Wersland, founder of the company. Thank you so much for your time. Very insightful. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
From crafting to NFTs, digital artwork, to Therabody devices, massage guns, pretty diverse show so far. When we return after this short break, I'm going to talk about how to know if the charity you want to donate to in Ukraine is legit. There's a lot of online scams and different charities that are all looking for your donation. So how do you know if they're legit or not? I'll share a few thoughts based on my research after this short break, but you are listening to Tech It Out on the Radio America Network. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. If you're on social media, drop by and say hi. Let me know what you're up to, what you think of the show. If you have any tech questions, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. Again, when we return, we're going to chat about avoiding scams tied to Ukrainian charities or international charities who claim to be donating money to the Ukrainian people. There's also that Airbnb trend. So we'll get to all of that when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
Before we continue on with the show and discuss Ukrainian charities and how to know if it's legit or not, I want to thank Western Digital, the parent company to WD and SanDisk and other brands, for supporting Tech It Out throughout the years. Love their products. I use their backup solutions all the time. External SSDs, external hard drives, also memory cards and USB thumb drives. I mean, it's one thing to back up your important files because you're trying to safeguard them in case something happens, but you need to trust the company that makes these external devices, because if your backup is no good, then all your efforts are for nothing, right? So you can always trust Western Digital devices. Head over to westerndigital.com or sandisk.com to learn more. All right, so people all over the globe are opening up their hearts and wallets to support the people of Ukraine during this war with Russia. So I wrote an article for USA Today about charities that you can trust, how to tell, and all that. So let me just give a bit of a summary, or you can Google my name, Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z, and charity or Ukrainian or USA Today, and you'll be able to find the article. But first thing, of course, is that you need to do a little homework, especially if you've never heard of them, like local charities in Ukraine. Otherwise, stick with the big international organizations, right? Like Red Cross, the UN Refugee Agency, there's UNICEF, and so on and so forth. But aside from that, if you want to know if a charity is legit or not, you can search for them at the IRS website to see if they're registered or suspended or even revoked. That's for those international charities or American-based ones. Do a web search. Type in the name of the charity along with words like scam or complaints to see if there's anything that you should be wary of. You could see if they're listed with any watchdog groups like Charity Navigator or BBB Wise to see if they're listed there and what kind of standing they're in. You can also ask the charity to see financial records. A lot of people won't go through all that. I understand that you're busy, you just want to donate, but you want to make sure that the money is landing into the pockets of those who really need it. Any red flags? Well, if they're unregistered, that's not a good sign. If they've got pushy tactics, you shouldn't feel pressured to donate. You may get, an urgent call saying, we're looking for some funds, but if they're trying to make you feel guilty or if it's like an act fast kind of thing, then obviously you should be suspicious. If there are few details on where the money goes, that's not good. And, also if they're requesting cash or cryptocurrency and not credit cards or anything like that, then yeah, I would also be a little weary. As for some of the scams that are circulating, many are distributed through social media, text messages and email. One may be the, sort of the grandparent scam, if you will, where, hi, I'm stuck in Ukraine and your contacts are hacked and it looks like you know who the person is, or their Facebook has been hacked and you think you're replying to your friend who, may be traveling overseas, but obviously double check in another capacity that it is not them. You may get a request, click here to download these photos. They play on your emotions. See what's happening in Ukraine. Look at these videos and photos. But unfortunately, if you click on those attachments, it could install some malware, malicious software. There's also phishing scams where it'll look legit. It'll say, click here to donate. And then when you land on the website, instead of it being redcross.org or what have you, if you look at the URL, it's like redcrossitl.co or something like that. So again, stick with international organizations that have been around for a while. Maybe if the government is matching donations, that's always a good thing. Oh, and then Airbnbs. This is an interesting trend. Nearly 500,000 people have booked a home in Ukraine with no intent of staying there. They want to just help people, right? So it has raised $37 million so far. Some not-for-profit organizations say it's a smart way to donate directly to people because they're going to get all of it. But also keep in mind, this isn't going to help, necessarily seniors or kids, because they aren't listing on Airbnb. It's usually like, 25 to 55 kind of thing. So just keep in mind all of that. But again, we want to help and I understand that, but you just got to do a little bit of homework. There's several articles, including mine with USA Today, on any red flags and some vetted organizations that you may want to partner with. Personally, I like the Red Cross, as donations made to the Ukraine crisis support humanitarian work in the country. The International Committee of the Red Cross and the Ukrainian Red Cross Society support food producing initiatives and infrastructure repair, including water pumping stations, as well as rebuilding damaged homes and providing aid to hospitals and schools, mental health facilities, and community centers. Money can be sent as a one-time donation or as a monthly contribution. Over 3 million women, children, and the elderly have left Ukraine, so there's a huge refugee problem. So I like the UNHCR as well, the UN Refugee Agency, which helps displaced people survive, recover, and rebuild better futures. The UNHCR says 84 cents out of every dollar that you donate directly goes to uprooted families living in dire conditions. All right, with that, it's the end of another Tech It Out episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, let me know on social media what you think, or if you want to share the podcast version with friends, family, and colleagues. It's greatly appreciated. You could leave a review as well. Thank you once again to ASUS, the title sponsor of this program, the company that creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops, like its ZenBooks, VivoBooks, StudioBooks, Chromebooks, and ExpertBooks. You can check them all out at asus.com/US/radio. That's asus.com/US/radio. All the best, everyone. Make the most out of the week ahead, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another fresh episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.